So today we're talking about the truth and the bullshit in the property industry. Excuse my language, but we are who we are. We don't mean to swear. It just comes from whether it's my ADHD or not. So we just thought we'd clear up a few things. And those of you who don't know, Unique Property Group has been running since 2016. It is the same limited company that we operate now, and it's something we're very proud of. Unfortunately, unfortunately, back when we first started, we started a rent-to-rent business. So my background is large-scale accommodation. In the recruitment world, we used to house thousands of workers, blue-collar workers all across the country, HMOs, hotels, service accommodation, etc., etc. It was a logistical nightmare, but I became very, very good at that. I then realised I could set up my own business, and that's what I wanted to do. I had enough of the corporate world, so I thought I could learn the property side of it and put two and two together, and that was Unique. And it started very well. I bought a first deal, it done amazingly, got a second one, a third one, a fifth one. Someone showed me how to then sell deals and make a bit of money on the side, because it wasn't getting me the money that I had in my corporate job. Anyway, fast forward up until COVID, we had around 20 self-employed staff. Pros and cons with that we can get into in a minute. But when COVID come, it literally knocked us for six. Now, let's be honest, it knocked the whole world for six and people died. So I'm not saying I'm more important than anyone, but unfortunately for a business where we were relying on the traffic of the hospitality business, like hotel chains, big hotel chains were going under. Our accountant at the time said, just fold. And I sold all of at the time, Christian wasn't there. I sold all of my assets that I had to pay the staff. Even though they were self-employed, we kept paying them. We've done everything we could. We even, after, I think, second or third month, I come up with an idea to set up a call centre to try and protect everyone. Yes, we were getting NHS staff and workers. It just wasn't sustainable. We had 400 units. A week before COVID, we set up 2 blocks, and investors put in £250,000 in each one. And look, investors were frustrated on a daily basis. They couldn't get their returns. I ultimately, at the time, we took on investors that probably weren't investors, and I mean that with the greatest respect. We didn't know what was coming, so the staff were getting abused on a daily. Where's my bookings? Where's my money? And some investors are still with us today. They're like, you've done everything you could. It's not your fault. Some investors didn't like that, and it is what it is, and I can't blame them for it. And they went to war on social media, and unfortunately, I was painted as a bad person, and I ripped off all these people. And what they'd done was, they calculated I should have made £1,000 a month. I didn't over 12 months. Lewis will rip me off £12,000.
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly jump in there to give some context, you had sourced the properties.
Correct.
The clients had asked you and paid for you to source the properties.
Correct.
You sourced them.
Correct.
And they were all ready to go to be used as Airbnbs. And then lockdown. Nobody could use anything.
Correct. So, look, just on the back, a good point, and I'm not here to point any blame away from me. We put our hands up and said, look, but at the same time, there's nothing we could do. We've done everything we could, and a lot of our investors was like, fair play to you. But there was a small minority. But what people don't realise is we weren't selling 2 or 3 deals. We were selling hundreds and hundreds. So when you've got a small majority of that, and they all took to social media, and it is what it is, and there's nothing we could have done. We tried to protect ourselves, but it is what it is. It's the same limited company now. And yeah, that went all over social media, and everyone just thinks we're a bad person. There still is people out there now, and guess what? It's the same old people. They're either jealous or didn't invest in us or just like bringing up the same old stuff. We worked with the PRS on a daily basis over a 2-year period, and where we could, we were offering people let's say, for example, someone paid a sourcing fee, they never got a property. Stuff like that's different. We've done what we could, and we paid people back. Now, bear in mind, we didn't have any revenue, etc., etc. Now, I'm not saying this now because I want everyone to be like, I feel sorry for you, etc., etc. Business is business. It is what it is. It was an awful time of my life. It was horrible. It was very emotional. How I got through it, I don't know. But we did. Like I said, it's the same company now. We fast forward in who we are today. We're very, very proud of the same company. Hundreds and hundreds of online reviews. We've got 40 full-time staff. On top of that, from an external point of view, and like people making this podcast and marketing people, we don't have anyone self-employed, so we can control and vet who we bring on. And I'm not saying we brought on the wrong people, but it was a mixture. And that is who we are today. But unfortunately, people still jump onto that, or look at Lewis's past, etc., etc. It is what it is. We're very transparent. We have nothing to hide. But what annoys me, and look, we're not here to badmouth people. We're not here, but what does annoy me, the people out there are some really snaky people out there. You know, me and I know you, we're like best friends as well as business partners. We go out of our way. Investors come first. We work backwards on contracts, and investors come first. You can't argue that. No one can argue that. But there are still people out there today that are taking the piss. And let's get to the point. We got ripped off over a year and a half ago.
Well, so, it was, yeah. We found out about it in July last year.
So
July, August last year.
So anyway, someone reached out to me and they were like, want to do business together, etc., etc. I'm very sceptical who I do business with for obvious reasons. And it took a couple of months to go back and forth in meetings. And this gentleman from Wales, I won't say his name, he presented himself. And let's be honest, I want to say this again. We're not here to badmouth people, but I think this has got to be told. And this gentleman turned around and said he had all these contracts with the government and he'd been doing it for 2 years. And we'd done some research. Some of his investors were our investors. So we're like, well, like for example, there's one multi-millionaire investor, I won't say his name, and he was like, Lewis, they're amazing. You've done your due diligence on it, all the contracts, all the bank statements, and it was like, wow, this is great. So we started introducing our clients, and the clients were paying that company directly, and we were getting paid a small fee. Let's just say it was over £1 million in like 6 months. Then stuff was starting to happen with some red flags. Was that fair to say?
Yeah, the whole process was becoming a little bit strange, and we stopped introducing clients in June 2023.
Correct.
Because we weren't comfortable.
Something just wasn't right. Then we got a bad feeling about certain things.
And then by mid-August.
But before you announce it, so
okay.
So basically, we had a meeting. We hired a property in the Lake District with my family. You was there with your family, and this gentleman turned around and turned up in his Audi TT sports car, silver, turbocharged, and he was like, "Well, let's stop doing this. Let's go do something else." We're like, "Why? We just spent all this money on this. Why?" And there was something not right about it. And then fast forward to August, and what happened?
Well, fast forward to August, he rings me up and says, "I'm really sorry, but I've got involved in a Ponzi scheme, and it's all a scam. There's no money, and all your clients are screwed."
And I remember I was in this very room, and you coming in that door, and I could have cried. And I was, what the fuck do you mean? Like, what on earth? And so it was panic stations. Like, what the fuck have we done? We've introduced our clients to this person. I'm in panic mode. Me and you was out on the balcony, like, what are we going to do? And this person was just talking shit. I was like, how on earth have you lied to us? And he wouldn't take responsibility.
Well, and he also didn't want us to tell any of the clients.
He said, don't tell any of the investors. I'll make more money and pay them back. And absolutely not, my friend. So you're telling us that I didn't do it, someone else done it, but you lied to us. No, well, yeah, and it went on like, I was furious. I was shaking. I'm shaking now thinking about it. Furious. So he said, don't do anything with it. So the minute he put the phone down or something like that, and then I think we had to break. That was a sleepless evening. So anyway, fast forward 24 hours, we come up with an idea. So we got all of our investors together and said, Christian and myself have uncovered a scam, and unfortunately, it's due to this company based in Wales. And they were like, well, thank you very much for telling us. Anyway, fast forward.
They didn't quite say it like that.
Yeah, no, they didn't quite say it like that. And it was, I mean, some of them were shocked, some of them were appalled, some of them were disappointed, but they were like, but you uncovered it, and why are you telling us? We're like, we're not bad people.
I mean, if we weren't an ethical business, because we had no legal responsibility to it, over and above the fact we introduced the clients to that company, they then did their own due diligence on that company, invested. Yes, we received a commission. So from a moral point of view, yes, we could just hand back our commission. But
sorry, go on.
But we don't operate like that. So we go beyond the ethical or moral approach to look after our clients. 100%. And so we brainstormed. And I said to you, I think you were having a bowl of cornflakes at home. I rang you and I said, we're going to have to pay all of our clients their capital back, even though we never received it. And I think you choked on your cornflakes.
And that isn't, I did. I think it was Weetabix, actually. Could you tell? Look, we're not laughing. It's not a funny story. It was probably another worst point in our careers, right? And it was, what do we do? So we spoke to our legal teams and they said, don't do anything. It's nothing to do with you. Don't do anything. That's not an option. That's not an option. Look, fast forward. We don't want to go into too much great details on it because there's a huge case going on in the background and he will spend some time in jail for it, and rightly so. Because what he done was wrong, and they're trying to blame other people, etc., etc. The reasons why we're sharing this, because they're still active today.
Yeah,
they're still active today on social media. Most of the people we're connected with this individual, and he got put a post up the other day, and it wound me up because he's like, we're one of the most best companies out there, blah blah. And he got all these 100. It's nonsense. You shouldn't be trading. It's nonsense. Trading standards are aware of it. Everyone's aware of it, and it's just like there's people out there calling us bad people, but that still goes on. It's naughty, and it's not just us. There was 5 other companies that he was working with, all reputable companies, and they couldn't do anything. Luckily, we get creative. And not saying these other people aren't ethical, but they had no choice but to say there's nothing we can do. And a lot of people lost a lot of money. It was £18 million. So we paid our clients back. We pay them back monthly, every month, 45 grand we pay. So we've got to work to get £45,000 before we can do anything. Still to this day, and we will do for the next 2 years. We've done it so far for a year. And do you know what? I'm proud of us. I'm proud of us for doing that. And I'm a little bit annoyed because it shocks me that still goes on. There's loads of scams out there in the property industry, but this person is looked at as if he's a shining pillar. But not only that, guess what? He comes from one of the leading property training industries, and they were panicking. They're like, do not tell anyone. They were offering you all sorts. They were panicking because he was the poster boy for all of their advertising. Well, that suddenly stopped, didn't it? And they were begging us not to say anything, but they were like, oh, it's not his fault, it's someone else's. Yeah. It's astonishing, and let's leave that there because we need to be careful what we say. But not only that, we don't. I'm not saying this in an arrogant way. I'm saying this in confidence and the facts. We don't really have competition in our main investment division. The reason being is because everything we do is unique. We have contracts and work backwards. So when you get other people trying to compare ourselves to them, you're not unique. We do things completely differently at a whole different level. We're about to tender for a £500 million government contract, and we will win it because of how we operate. Now, there's lots of other companies out there selling these rent-to-rent social housing deals. I won't say their names, but to give you an idea, we work with the providers that back up their rent-to-rent deals, and they're telling us, and this has been going on for years, go and Google it. One's called Mears, one's called Serco. So everyone's out there selling, because people out there sell the data. It's there, go and Google it. One's up north, one's down south, they work directly for the government. Underneath them, they will have separate companies underneath them. One of this company is out there going, let's help 1 million people homeless. Great, well, it's not sustainable, is it? Because they're not going to be homeless forever. Point I'm trying to make is, their managing director of that business goes around ringing everyone, going, I wouldn't work with Unique, wouldn't work with this, wouldn't work with that. So when I confront him, he goes, ooh, like how unprofessional is that? But it makes us look better. It still goes on today. Look, we ruffle a few feathers in the industry because I've got this saying: we don't work in the property industry. We've become in the industry, and I think it's inspiring because we work backwards from contracts, we work backwards from assets. We invest heavily ourselves, and our investors have come along for the journey. Simple as that. We don't sell risky rent-to-rent deals for hundreds of thousands of pounds. There was 2 companies the other day, as an example. So they sold a block of 93 units full of homeless people. We're all for helping people. That is carnage. But not only that, the other company double sold it. So 93 investors just sold a deal, and it's carnage. What's going on?
And also, they haven't got the permissions from the councils. So ultimately, it could be shut down. So literally, your whole investment is gone.
100%.
And a housing provider for the homeless wouldn't put 93 homeless people in one building together. They just wouldn't do it.
Correct.
So it's all a load of smoke and mirrors.
Now look, we don't. This is not us. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable having these sort of conversations, but we're raw, we're unique, we want to tell you the truth. We're not doing that to divert towards us. If you're going to invest, do your due diligence, look into stuff like that. When people invest with us, they come to us directly. Now, this isn't a plug to invest with us, but if you're going to invest, do your due diligence. And also as well, just be aware that there are a lot of bad people out there, not only people mis-selling something. It could be a marketing company. It could be, as soon as you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, and I get it all the bloody time, people will reach out to you and trying to sell you that. If you don't need it, don't get it. If you need it, do your due diligence and just be really careful out there. I think this is probably going to be a bit of a different to our audience because it's truth, it's unraw, it's raw, it's uncut, and people need to know. And it's a shame that things do happen, but when you operate like that, I mean, how on earth can you take £15 million off people over a 3 or 4 year period, live a life like you do on social media, then turn around and go, sorry, it was nothing to do with me, I'll help you out in the future, and then continue to sell social housing deals? You, my friend, are an idiot.
He is, very much. And I mean, that's just one instance. The actual property market in the UK, yes, there's some really correct people and correct businesses out there, but there's a lot of unscrupulous traders.
Let's leave it on this then. There's another group that's fully FCA regulated. Everyone's like, you're not FCA regulated. We adhere to all FCA guidelines. We work with them on a daily basis. Our partners and our suppliers are all FCA regulated. There's one company at the moment who's FCA regulated, who's about to go under for £180 million. So it makes, do you know what I mean? It's crazy, but we're working to change the industry and the way that Unique is evolving and the way that we're going. The future's not bright. The future's Unique, and I'm very proud, and so are you.
And orange.
Say it again.
And orange.
The future's not bright, is orange. Look, I think that's probably the only podcast that I want to get involved in talking about other people. We are who we are. I don't mean to be arrogant and say we don't have competition, because competition is healthy in any business, but no one's doing what we're doing because they don't have what we have. You don't have me, you don't have Christian, you don't have, look around you here. Everyone's employed directly. There's values where they're aligned. We don't, everyone's like, you got a huge call centre. You must be calling loads of people each day. 800 calls a day, all booked, no cold calling.
Yeah, we're doing zero cold calling.
On that note, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I look forward to hopefully you watching us and listening to us on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.